Yeah. Ready, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Venerable.
Good morning. 哎，浩，那个师傅那边的灯会不会暗了一点？
So today, now we continue to with this practice. So last time we discussed about talk about the visualization, and then we also talk about the praise to Ksitigarbah. Now today we talk about the 7 limb prayers. 7 limb, sometimes called as 7 limb practices. In many of the practices, this 7 limb prayer is always there, because this is very important practice. So here in Ksitigarbah practice, it comes with the package of the 7 limb prayer or 7 limb practices, right? So the why it is called 7 limb prayer is because it is 7 limb prayer. Seven limb means it is a method. It is these 7 limb practices are the method to make a smooth journey to enlightenment. In order to make a smooth journey to enlightenment, 7 limb practices are done. So therefore, it is called 7 limb practices or 7 limb prayers. Because these 7 limb practices are in fact the method, the method and the means to reach to the highest form of enlightenment, right? Now take an example how the 7 limb practices. Now, for example, first of all, the 7 limb practices, as we know, is first is the prostration, then making offering, purification or confession, and then rejoicing, number 4, and then requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma, or requesting to teach, continue to teach, and then requesting not to pass away, and then the final is I think turn the wheel of Dharma for my rest, and then final is then dedicating all the merit. So therefore these are the 7 limb practices. We will discuss as we go through this one by one, right? So why the 7 limb practices that we mentioned earlier, each of them is because for example, right, sometimes what we do is, now for example, right, when we try to meditate on the preciousness of the human rebirth and the difficulty of obtaining the human rebirth, when we try to meditate on the very purposefulness of the precious human rebirth, when we try to meditate on the impermanent, when we try to also meditate on the love, meditate on the compassion, meditate on the bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, when we meditate on the, say, wisdom. Now, all this spiritual path, all these kind of spiritual path, right? So, all this spiritual path, Now, for example, right? Just take a very simple example, right? Mm, First of all, uh, we when we hear the teaching, when we hear the teaching, we hear the teaching, and then we also do study the teaching, right? We do study those, dharma teachings, and sometimes even the dharma teachings, sometimes we don't understand, the meaning of the, dharma teachings. Even if we, uh, even if we do understand the dharma teachings, then, you know, it's difficult to get the deeper conviction, deeper conviction, deep, it is sometimes difficult to get the conviction, Even if we get the conviction, we are in fact not able to implement into practice. We are not able to put into practice, right? Put into practice, right? Let's check, for example, right now here. I mean, I can meditate on love. I can meditate on the impermanent. I can meditate on the love. I can meditate on the love, the compassion, the all the impermanent things. I can do all these things, right? But then when I am out of the meditation, out of the meditation and try to, try to really, uh, try to deal with the everyday experience, everyday experience, day-to-day life's experience, then sometime, I may be not skillful, I may be not skillful, a small incident a small incident may trigger the the trigger the situation. You may trigger the problem, right? A small incident, and then you know uh, again, for example, I can meditate on the impermanent like this, but then again when I really goes into society, society, and again deal with the day-to-day lives experience, then again I'm caught up in all these distractions, a lot of whole great deal of distractions. I'm not really able to control my mind. So all this happens. Why? All this happening, right? So all this happening because of the lack of the purification practice and the lack of the accumulation of the merit, right? Meditate, for example, when I talk about the love, I'm talking about the unconditional love, right? Or when I talk about the preciousness of the human rebirth, the difficulty of obtaining the human rebirth, when I talk about the very purposefulness of the precious human rebirth, right? So this kind of meditation is the very seed, is the very seed. The meditation itself is the very seed. But now, in order to germinate the seed, in order to make the seed grow into the full-grown tree, we need the we need the uh, we need the temperature, we need the soil, we need the right temperature, a balanced temperature, balanced temperature. Yeah, we need a balanced temperature. The soil is very fertile. The soil, very nutrients, and then you need to put the water. Too much water destroy. Less water also, will not. make the seed grown into the full beautiful flower. So you need all the temperature right, appropriate things causes a condition. Similarly, in order to make your practice, whatever kind of visualization, whatever we do, in order to really bring you the deeply felt experience, purification practice, accumulation merit is a must, is a necessary, without which the same like our external things, external things. I mean, just sit alone is not enough. You have the apple seed, apple seed, apple seed, and if you put the rock, if you just leave it on the outside, so apple seed will not grow, right? So in order to grow the apple seed into a very good apple tree, you need the temperature, the watering, all these things, the shadow, the balanced sunlight, everything is necessary. Similarly here, all the things necessary, right? So then then with this meditation, this whatever kind of meditation we do, always support it with a purification practice and accumulation of merit. Then gradually and by smoothly everything goes very well. Once meditation goes very well, one also gain much deeper experience, one also gain the conviction, right? All these things is necessary, right? Necessary. And not only that, not only that, for example, when the bodhisattvas when the bodhisattvas uh, travel from one pure land, uh, when the bodhisattva travel from Buddha's pure land to another Buddha's pure land, they always make sure that they make the offering of the seven limb practices as a gift, when they first see with the other bodhisattva, other enlightened being, Buddha. So with this, we come to understand how important, how very important is the purification practice, accumulation of the merit, and the purification. So these two are very necessary, right? Then how much how much we get the result out of doing this, by doing this, engaging in the seven limb practices, how much we really get the result depends on many things. For example, when we try to do any of these seven limb practices, of course the devotion is necessary, right? Devotion is very necessary. And then uh, uh, the faith and devotion, all this necessary. And one of them, another important thing is, sometimes I mean, a lot of people do these practices, seven limb practices, right? At least those who follow the Buddhism, right? So they do seven limb practices, but then I mean, a great deal of benefit is being said. A great, a great number of benefit. If you do, for example, like prostration, you will get different kinds of, benefits. A great deal of benefits is being said. But then we do see, many engage in the, for example, like seven limb practices. So then the question comes: do they receive the benefit? Do they truly receive the 100% benefit? Right? So sometimes we may not see other people do in purification practice. Now, what is lacking? Even if you do purification practice, the benefits are being set, but then sometimes it's very hard to see the people receive the benefit. Now what makes the person not getting the benefit? Devotion is either lacking, faith is lacking, right? This is too lacking. And then another very important thing is, we say patience. The patience is very important, very important. Patience. You work so hard, to create all this. We work hard, to create a lot of amount of merit here and this, but then, unfortunately, if we don't be careful with if we are not careful with the emotion, especially the what is called as hatred, hatred, hatred destroy your merit. So hatred is what we get, what we hatred is what we sometimes get. Sometimes we become again and again. So therefore, we need to be very careful with the emotion, especially the hatred. So anyway, yeah, I will talk about these things. So therefore, we need many factors, many factors, to go everything. It is not just enough, to engage in this, 6 limb prayers and practices. We need to make sure that everything is, comes with fully packaged, fully packaged, right? Now here in the 7 limb prayer, in the 7 limb prayer, some of the limbs, or some of the how to say, the limbs or the practices are either the accumulation of the merit, and some are the purification practice, right? So first of all, we will go through this each of the limb here. I will read and then I will try to explain. I prostrate with body, speech, and mind in heartfelt devotion and admiration. I present clouds of every type of offerings, real and imagined. Right. First, let me read. Then I will explain. Let me read all the 7 limb prayers. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice. The first one is, I prostrate with body, speech, and mind, is the prostration. I present every cloud of, is the offering. The second, I dedicate all my negative actions, since this is the purification practice. Third, and rejoice in the virtues of all holy and other means. This is the rejoice. Please remain until the end of samsara. This is requesting to not to pass away, and not to pass away, and turn the wheel of dharma, requesting to teach the dharma. I dedicate my virtues and those of all others to the great enlightenment. This is the dedication. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right. Now we go through these, 7 limb prayers. Now it says, now the first one is, I prostrate with body, speech, and mind in heartfelt devotion and admiration. This is the first limb of the offering, which is the offering of the prostration, right? So when we talk about the offering of the prostration, right, this offering of the prostration, is so, again, is very important, because this offering of prostration is, is very powerful, that you can also accumulate the merit, and you can also purify the negativities, right? Like this. So now when we talk about the offering of the prostration, right, we can talk about the 3 kinds of. First, we are so we try to seek renunciation, right? We all try to seek renunciation by seeing and by fearing, by fearing the suffering of the lower realm and the suffering of the samsara, right? In order to get out of, in order to free from these, these fears, we therefore seek a renunciation, right? And not only this, not only this, uh, we also generate the mind of enlightenment. We also generate the mind of enlightenment with the wish to free all beings, with the wish to free all beings, right? With the wish to free all beings from the suffering which comes about based on your own suffering. How much you are tormenting, So you don't want suffering. So you, therefore, when you think about the suffering of yourself, it gives rise to the sense of renunciation. The same experience of suffering that you go through, when you shift to other people, other sentient beings, you develop a compassion, right? So with this compassion, give rise to altruistic mind, the mind of enlightenment, right? So you wish to also free not only your own suffering, but also you wish to free the suffering of all the beings, right? Now, it is not enough, just I really want to achieve, I really want to renounce, I really want to get renounced from the samsara, the suffering that I do not want. If you want to make an end to the suffering, if you really want to make an end to the suffering of yourself, and if you want to make the end to the suffering of others, other beings, you need to act, need to act. It is not just enough to just to have the wishful thinking, right? You need to act, If we were to act, then how we are going to act? So the acting is done by trying to take the essence, trying to extract the essence from this precious human life. How we are going to take the essence from this precious human life is now. So therefore, we need to take the essence. For example, in this case, prostration, right? For example, how many prostration? There are three kinds of prostration: physical prostration, verbal prostration, mental prostration, right? So therefore, now we need to extract the essence from your physical by doing the physical prostration. We need to extract the essence from the speech, because because we are able to speak, we are able to talk, we are able to speak. To be able to, we need to take the essence from the speech, that is to be able to talk. And then we also need to extract the essence, not only the mind, we need to take the essence from the mind, which is being able to cultivate the devotion and faith by recalling the qualities of the enlightened beings. So therefore, in terms of prostration, we need to take the essence from the physical prostration, verbal prostration, and mental prostration, right? So this is here in this case how we can do. Now here, when we talk about the physical prostration, what is physical prostration? What is verbal prostration? What is mental prostration, right? So physical prostration means, now when we do, right, there are two kinds of prostration. One is short length prostration, and one is full length prostration. Short length prostration, you can, doing like this, first, we do like this, right? For example, hand, we don't do like this, some they do like this. If you do like this is not a good sign, you create a negative karma to born in the place where Buddha's teaching has not been flourished like this. So you don't do like this, do like this, do like this, right? And then take it out, and then finger put here, right? Put here. So then we do like this here, here on the top of the crown, on the crown, and then here, here on the middle of the forehead, and then throat, and then heart. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do 4 or you can do 3. 3 if you do 1, 2, 3. If you do 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. So when we do this, I go for Namo Guru Be, right? Namo Guru Be, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Right. So why you do this, why you do this, why you put, there are many different, indication or different significant, which I don't, talk about this, because it is associated with how, tantra, High Tantra, But then, if you put the place here, hand, like this, what you are doing is, if you see the image of the Buddha, in the Buddha's, head, there's a crown, there's something like very top of there is a crown. We are creating the cause we are creating the cause to achieve that one. When we put the here, Buddha's, in the middle of the eyebrow, there's something, like diamond. So you are creating all the causes to achieve that. When you put the Namo Guru, Namo Buddha, Namo Dharmaya here, when you put the hand here, it creates the cause, right? Finally, you achieve the melodious voice with 60 different qualities. And also for the short-term benefit, if you do like this, your voice, your voice can be like conch, conch. When you blow the conch, how crystal the conch is, how loud the conch is. Similarly, not all the people have this quality. Some people have very clear, crystal clear, voice with very loud. You don't need microphone. You don't need microphone. Or some people have this, called rare quality, right? So something like this. But then this, voice is used for, dharma purpose, right? So you are creating all these causes when you put here. Then when you hear, you are creating the, cause for achieving the omniscient mind, the mind of omniscient mind, the mind which knows everything. So like this. And then when you you here touching the hand to hand and touching the two nail on the ground, and also need to touch your forehead, on the ground. If you don't touch forehead on the ground, and if you, while we are doing, sometimes we are tired, we're doing like this, taking some rest, while laying down, so this is not good. If you do like this, then that's also not good. There are many negative effect says, right? So all these are doing, if what we say is, if you do something, we do in a quality, some kind of, a good, you need to some kind of, in a quality manner, right? You need to do in a very high quality way. So this is the, because if you do this, even if you do the prostration, how you can do all the physical prostration, we do in a right way, right? doing it in the right way, if you do it, then what is the benefit is you are creating the merit. You are creating the merit because you are practicing the perfection of giving. You are giving the perfection of, we are practicing the perfection of ethics. Ethics, because you are doing in the right way, sincerely. So it's a perfection of ethics. You are creating the merit from that, right? So this is the physical prostration. Just then the verbal prostration is, now you don't, well, while you are doing this, you have to use this speech. Speech. So then, while you do the prostration, when we do the prostration, we need to recite the holy words, sacred words. For example, like recitation of the mantra, or making the praise to the enlightened beings, the bodhisattvas. You will recite something. There is some passage where we recite when we do the prostration, right? So this is, you just need to recite. So when we recite something, we also again create the merit, right? Because you are using somewhat very holy, holy words, or when a sacred words, right? So uh, recitation of the sacred words from your mouth is a verbal prostration, right? Now the third one is mental prostration. Mental prostration means, now this is also very important. Mental prostration, this is something the more important. This mental prostration is more important than the physical prostration or verbal prostration, because otherwise what happens is, we do the prostration, we are something, reciting, supposed to be reciting very holy words, but then our mind get distracted, going here and going there, always, wander here and there. So lost somewhere in the world, so we are not single pointedly devoted, sincerely devoted, because our mind wanders here and there, right? Thinking about something here and there, so mental prostration is the most important. Mental prostration means, now you are doing all these things, right? Physical prostration, you are reciting holy words. Now what about your mind? What we need to think about when we do the prostration? Now we need to think about the qualities of the enlightened beings. The qualities of the enlightened beings. We cultivate the devotion, we cultivate the faith by recalling the qualities of the enlightened beings. Right? Now, for example, in a single particle, in a very single particle, they exist as numberless as particles of this world, of the entire galaxy. In this smallest particle, particle, for example, the Buddhas exist. The Buddhas exist as numberless as the galaxies of the atoms of this world, right? So that means we are recalling, we are remembering the qualities of these, limitless and innumerable, uh, the qualities of the enlightened beings, right? And then gain a devotion, we develop the faith and devotion by recalling the qualities of the limitless of the Buddhas. So this is the mental prostration. This is the mental prostration. Now, uh, now, how do we visualize? when we do the prostration, now here, for example, I prostrate with the body, speech, and mind in heartfelt devotion, admiration, right? So as I said, in many of the, in almost every of the prayers, actually, for the individual, if somebody wants to do some, prayers in the, in one's house or room, we don't go like we normally don't, read, just without, bringing any kind of feeling inside. It's so right. So the important thing is each, after reading each, we try to make sure that we need to visualize something, right? So now, when it comes to making the prostration, line, how we are to how we are to visualize, how we are to visualize. So now here, um, there are there are two kinds of visualization. You can do either one. You can do either one. One visualization is because, as we said earlier, why we are doing this prostration, right? Maybe even in terms of health, health. If you do the prostration, you a lot of health benefit. You receive a lot of health benefit. But now here, the mainly we do the prostration in order to accumulate merit, and in order to accumulate merit and to make the purification. Try to purify. So therefore, as we know, life has no beginning. If the life has no beginning, therefore your birth has no beginning. Our birth has no beginning. Why our birth has no beginning is because our mental continuity has no beginning. The mental continuity, right? Now, if our birth has no beginning, then we have to understand, we have to understand, and we come to the conclusion. We come to the conclusion that we have. You cannot pinpoint. We cannot pinpoint. I have not taken this birth. You cannot pinpoint. I haven't taken birth in this place. Right? We cannot pinpoint. So that means our birth has no beginning, and then that means we, for example, we have taken as a God limitless times. We have taken as a demigod limitless time. We have taken as a human being limitless time. We have taken birth as a in the hell limitless time, also in the hungry ghost limitless time, and as an animal limitless time. So therefore, just take an example. We have taken birth as an animal, right? For example, just take an example. We have taken the birth as a bird. Bird, limitless time. So we have taken the birth as, birth as a bird, or for example horse, horse limitless time, or cat or dog, whatever it is, right? So in this very life, we do see, can the animal like dog make the purification? Can they do the physical prostration? The dog, the animal, like the bird, the cat, horse, do they make the purification? No, they cannot make any purification. So right? They cannot make any purification. So then, while we take a bird as an animal, for example, like cat, dog, and then the bird, we create a negative karma. There's no doubt. There's no doubt we have created negative karma, and this negative karma, while we are while we are while we are while we were animal, we haven't purified because animals cannot purify it. So this negative karma is here. All is here. All this negative karma. We have taken the limitless times animals, and all the while we taken birth as an animal, the hungry ghost helping all the negativities you have not yet purified. All these things, the seed, the seed is here. So long as we don't make purification, it is 100% sure that we will experience the result sooner or later, right? But it can never be destroyed. It always in our mind, right? So therefore, you have taken birth as a particular animal, but animal in the here, the hell, the hungry ghost, the demigod, the gods, limitless time. So now what we have taken birth as these beings, we visualize all these beings in the form of the human, in human form. We visualize all of them in human form, all your rebirth, earlier rebirth, not in an animal. We don't visualize as animal, we better visualize them as human form, right? And then with this, we do the physical prostration. That's a limitless, your limitless emanation. You are visualizing something like yourself, all your past rebirth as so limitless, innumerable. We all are doing prostration, all of you, all these your emanations, your, I don't say emanations, but rather all your rebirth. You visualize as human, all of this, not as an animal, but rather visualize as human form, in a human form, and then try to make the prostration, physical prostration, verbal prostration. That means the whole great number of what you visualized, you cannot count. We cannot count. So all of you are making physical prostration, verbal prostration, mental prostration. Now, how much purification we are making, how much merit we are accumulating is something unimaginable, right? So this one. So for the beginner, we are beginner. So for the beginner, this is good practice. The good start visualization. So we do like this. Then another one, the visualization, what we do prostration is that what you do is you don't consider, we don't think that, oh, I'm the only person, one person making prostration. Not that way. Now we emanate innumerable. We emanate innumerable, right? We are emanating as something countless. So you have countless emanations. All these countless emanations, each of these countless emanations of you have all the head. Each of them have head. Each head has one mouth. Each mouth has one tongue, right? So, each of them has mind, right? So all of you are making physical prostration, verbal prostration, mental prostration. Now there are limitless of you who is making prostration, right? So again, how much merit? Not one person is doing prostration. Limitless is doing prostration, like yourself. So the merit that we gain, that we earn from this practice is unimaginable, limitless. And then the purification practice, the purification, how much we purify, also limitless. At the same time, how much we make the purification practice, how much we create the merit depends on how devoted we are, how faithful we are. Trust, trust in this kind of practice, right? The a deep, devotion, a deep devotion, and the deep faith in this practice brings, the the result. The effectiveness of the result. How much purification we make, how much the merit that we earn depends on how much sincere, how much devoted we are, right? So like this. Then there are different, for example, where are we making prostration, right? We can make the prostration to the Buddha's images, the Buddha's, the icons, Buddha's pictures, and like this. And also we can make the, make the prostration to the Buddha's stupas, like this. So these are tremendous, tremendous merit. But then we can also, we can also prostrate to the Buddhas of the three times: past Buddha, present Buddha, future Buddha, right? And also, we also make the prostration to the Buddhas of the 10 directions, all the directions, right? So this merit is also more powerful, more powerful. Now here in this case, because this 7 limb prayer is related with the Ksitigarbah practice, right? Ksitigarbah practice. So we already know, we have, I think all of you, we discussed last time that you visualize Ksitigarbah in front of you, right? Ksitigarbah who is in front of you. So Ksitigarbah is the main figure, we visualize in front. That is the merit field. We call merit field because we create much of the merit by by making prayers, by making offerings, and those prayers and practices related to the Ksitigarbah, through which we earn a tremendous amount of merit. So therefore, we call Ksitigarbah merit field. Ksitigarbah is the central figure, of your merit field, right? So now we consider Ksitigarbah. Ksitigarbah is the very embodiment of all the object of refuge. Ksitigarbah is the embodiment who encompasses Buddhas of the three times, Buddhas of the 10 directions, right? Then we make prostration to Ksitigarbah. This is equivalent to making prostration to all the Buddhas of the three times, making prostration to the Buddhas of the all the directions. Such kind of merit can only be obtained through such visualization. Ksitigarbah is the very important man who encompasses all the objects of refuge, who is the embodiment of the Buddhas of the three times, Buddhas of the 10 directions. So this merit is now the most excellent. We can achieve the highest form of merit. We can achieve the highest form of merit by engaging in such kind of visualization, such form of visualization, like this. So this is briefly about the prostration, right? The visualization associated and involved with the prostration. Then we will talk about the offering. Offering, the second limb is the offering practice, right? Offering practice. Now here, when we talk about offering, I mean, there are different kinds of offering, like external offering, external offering. And first, let me read. I present clouds of every type of offerings, real and imagined. Right? Something, those offerings which is real and something which is imagined offering, right? So how do we do this practice, right? Now, first of all, we need to understand what are the offerings, So there are different kinds of offerings, For example, there is one kind of offering, uh, unowned, offering. Unowned means, for example, the sun, nobody owned. The moon, nobody owned. The stars, nobody owned, right? And then the mountains, the oceans, all this nobody owned. And then the flowers, some, those flowers, the forest, very, thick forest, all this nobody owned. So these are unowned object, right? And then, we have the offering like, water, the flowers, the incense, the light, the perfume, the music, the food, all this offering, right? So it really makes a great difference, right? If we do this, make offering out of some understanding, then it is very helpful, very. Otherwise, sometimes, people feel burdened, If people really do it with out of, the joy, rejoice, out of joy, out of, happiness, then it's really, something marvelous. Otherwise, people feel, why I have to do, what's the meaning? Thing like this. Just doing this, brings happiness, doing this and doing this joy, So therefore we are doing. So all this offering, right? Then, so these are the, something we can do, right? We can do water. And then, each of these offering, I don't go about the benefits, a great deal of benefit. Just offering even a one flower, a great benefit, right? For example, if you offer the, water, we may think what it's just a bowl of water, what it has to do, But then if you really, think about the meaning, if you even offering the water, you creating the cause to develop the wisdom, it really, create the cause to cultivate bodhicitta, right? To purify your negativities, just making a one bowl of offering, these qualities. So I don't go into much detail in all these things, And then this, the incense, the flowers, the lights, all these things. So these are the offering that we can make, right? And then there is another offering, right? Now here, offerings real, and so these are the real, right? And then imagined. The imagined offering means, those offerings that you can imagine. Imagine, then that means you create the object by yourself. You create all the objects. We create the objects. The way that you can create the object is the objects, the offering, as vast as the ocean. One can create such an ocean, like And then we have, in this imagine offering, you can include, again, we can include different kinds of offerings, different kinds of offerings. Again, like light, the flowers, the food, the clothing, incense, the medicine, all the best offering, right? Then there are offerings which are more better than these things, which are far better than this. Now, what are these offerings? Now, these offerings are studying Dharma, studying Dharma, studying Buddha's teaching. Because if you study Buddha's teaching, then later on you are able to keep the Buddha's teaching. You are helping to flourish the Buddha's teaching. So this is the best way that you can help the beings, sentient being. So this is the one type of offering which can surpasses the earlier offerings. And then there is the practice. Practice, one can practice the teaching, just like the great Milarepa says, right? I have no material possessions to offer. It is my practice that I can offer to you. So this, practice, putting into practice, So this is the another, the offering. The last offering, also that, for example, right now, if you receive the, for example, like vow, some kind of, right, somebody, if may, receive the layperson vow, right, layperson vow. So and also then there is a bodhisattva vow. Especially receiving the bodhisattva vow is the highest form that you can practice. That this is the best offering that one can make. So something like, come in that way. Right. Then here, when we make the offering, what kind of visualization we are going to do? What visualization we are supposed to do, right? When we do the offering, on the part of offering. Present clouds of every type of offerings real and imagined. We then take time, visualize, right? I present a crowd of every time. Sometimes in a group, difficult, this. Then when it comes with a group, we continue to read, right? We have no time to stop, right? Right. For the individual, if they are present clouds of every type of offerings, real and imagine, one take 1 minute silent, visualize, and then after visualizing done, then I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time. Or you read from I prostrate to until up to the I dedicate up to the dedication. First you complete and then spend time, visualize one after the each. Or in each part you read, then visualize. It's up to oneself, right? How one do. So here, when you make the offering, what the visualization that involved is there are 4 ways that you can do. Either you can do, some people like the first one, some people like the second, some people like the third, fourth, you can choose any, right? Here the visualization is, as you read this, the passage or the line, One is from your heart. From your heart, you emanate the goddesses. You know, the great number of goddesses. All these goddesses in their hand holding some flower, some light, some water with a vessel, some offering the incense, some perfume, some food, some dress, medicine, great deal, limitless one can emanate. Then offering this to whom? Offering this here in this case, you can offer to Ksitigarbah and all his, all the gathering, all the retinue of the Ksitigarbah you offered. Because Ksitigarbah is the one who encompasses the Buddhas of the 3 times, all the refuge, all the Buddhas of the 10 directions. So you make offering to Ksitigarbah. All these, goddesses making offering to Ksitigarbah. This is one. Another is your, or you manifest, you emanate, again, innumerable number. You emanate billions, trillions, zillions, all these things, countless. And then you make offering. You yourself make offering. You are holding different types of offering, right? Different types of, and then offer to the Ksitigarbah. Or you can visualize Ksitigarbah here, right? You visualize. And then you emanate the offering as vast as ocean, as vast as the entire universe. You make the offering. The offering which filling the entire universe, you make offering to the Ksitigarbah. Right, this one. This is third one. The fourth one is here. The fourth one is what is also very popular, popular, and is also very much popular, and also one of the one of the powerful way of creating the merit. That is, you become Samandar Badara, Buddha Samandar Badara, right? You become Buddha Samandar Badara. You are holding the jewel, you are holding the precious jewel. Here, you are holding the precious jewel. You transform yourself into the Samandar Badara, Buddha Samandar Badara, right? So, holding the precious jewel, then from the precious jewel, rays of light coming, rays of light emanate. Each, on the tip of the each rays of light, offering, a great number of offering. At the tip of each of the rays of light, right, great number of offering. Again, from the offering themselves, again rays of light comes. Again, rays of light comes. Again, each tip of the rays of light. It goes like this until the whole universe is filled with the offering, such kind of offering. This offering, you are making offering to the Ksitigarbah and all the gathering. When you make the offering to Ksitigarbah, what happened? Ksitigarbah accepted your offering. And Ksitigarbah, in Ksitigarbah and all his gathering, a great number of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in their mind are born with uncontaminated bliss, uncontaminated happiness and joy. So, in fact, we are creating all the causes to cultivate uncontaminated joy yourself in the future. Because every action has equal and opposite reaction. So you are creating your own happiness. In fact, you are visualizing that way. In reality, you are getting beneficiaries. Right? So this is offering part. Then, so with this then comes uh, comes the purification, confession. We call confession practice. Then I declare all my negative actions, accumulated sins, beginningless time. Right? Sometimes so then how do we do the purification practice or confession practice? Whatever kind of purification practice we do, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. For example, yeah, for example, like 35 confession ceremony, 35 confessions, one can do the purification practice as per the, 35 confession Buddha confessional ceremony, or you can do the Vajrasattva, right? One can do the Vajrasattva, or there are many, ways that you can, purify one's negativities, which we have created since beginningless time. But the important thing is, whatever purification one do, the purification practice should always be supported with 4 powers. If 4 powers is missing, then that is not the whole purification practice, right? So it is always based on the 4 powers, 4 forces, right? So later on, I think when we have time, we will discuss more about the purification practice. This is very important, very important. So when it comes to doing purification practice, as I said, 4 powers is necessary, right? Just we reading some text, for example, right? For example, in the case of bodhisattva vow, you receive the bodhisattva vow and you have degenerated it. It is not just reading is enough. You need to visualize. I'm retaking it that I have received. Now, for example, take a very simple case. For example, when we receive the bodhisattva vow, or when we receive the refuge vow, right? When we, for example, when we become a Buddhist, right? Or when we gain any kind of vow, when you first receive, you are being asked, I have received it. From then onwards, you are receiving it. Otherwise, just somebody recite and you are supposed to receive it automatically. This is not how it works. One has to think. The preceptor, or one who gives the vow or whatever is reading and something, and then you are being asked. You are being asked. The master is reminding you that at this point, visualize you have received it. Then you are received. without doing anything, maybe it is difficult, right? Now here, so therefore visualization, the purification practice comes with a package of visualization. The power of the first is the power of basis, and then the power of antidote. The power of basis, the power of antidote, and then the power of regret, the power of promise. These four. Right. So therefore, the important thing is that I want to purify something. Oh, if we want to purify something, why I want to purify? If I don't purify, I will suffer. In the very next life, I will suffer terribly. So right now, in my hand, everything is my hand. So I need to make purification practice. So long as I don't make purification practice, I will have to experience the consequences, right? So this purification practice should be motivated out of regret, remorse over what? Remorse over your negative actions. If you don't purify it, I will have to experience at all the cost. I cannot escape. There's no way that I can escape. There's no way that I can deceive the karma. The only issue is that you have either make purification or experience or face the consequences, experience the result. You choose. We choose. You want to experience the result or you want to make the purification practice. Only two options. So if we make the purification, then that should be motivated out of deep remorse, right? Deep remorse. For example, what kind of remorse? The strength of remorse and the degree of remorse is mistakenly you consume the poison. We consume the poison mistakenly. Later on, you really develop a deep sense of remorse. This kind of remorse is necessary in order to make the purification, right? For example, mm, uh, when the Milarepa's mother, her mother, Nyasa Karge, her name was Nyasa Karge. She told him, right, now you need to destroy our uncle and auntie, right? So if you are not able to destroy, I will commit suicide in front of your face, in front of your presence. Milarepa got very frightened. Right? He cannot dare to see his mother commit suicide in front of his eyes. So he determined to learn the black magic. As a result of engaging in black magic, brought such a disaster, leading to the killing of 35 people, destroying all the villages. Later on, because the more later on he realized, the more he subdued the external enemy, the more enemy come. There is no limitless, there is no limit to the external enemy. If you destroy one, two come. If you destroy two, four come. Continue to come, increase, the external enemy. So the best way to destroy the enemy is to conquer yourself, to conquer your own mind, to control one's own mind, to bring one's mind under the control. This is the only way that we can destroy the enemy, right? So he learned this bitter truth. It's very strange that the more we try to destroy the enemy, the, the number of the enemy keep on increasing, external enemy keep on increasing. So that's why his quest for the Dharma continue to grow up. And then he thought, if I don't make purification, I will be I will be burnt alive next life. There is no way, there is no gate to get out of from the lower realm once I'm burnt alive. So out of so remorse, a deep remorse, which really which really forced him to undergo a great hardship. So then such a kind of remorse that when he sleep, as time comes to sleep, he wants to wake up. When he wants to wake up, he wants to sleep. When he wants to stay inside, he wants to go outside. When he tries to go outside, he wants to stay inside. Or something like this. All the opposite things continue to hunt. His the crime keeps on hunting him all the time. All the time urging him, forcing him to do something. Something. So this is how he then finally came to Dharma, meet with the Dharma practice, which then through his very sincere practice, devotion, a complete devotion, there's a sense of sincerity, there's a sense of devotion, a full devotion, right? There's a kind of purity, hard work, perseverance, joyous effort, the patience, a sense of joy, everything is there, which then make him achieve enlightenment in a single lifetime, becoming one of the most beloved saint and the beloved poet of the land of snow. Right. So this kind of regret is necessary, as if mistakenly you have swallowed the poison. This kind of, if one's remorse is so strong, if one's remorse is so powerful and strong, your determination, our determination, our other powers, the power of reliance, the power of antidote, the power of promise becomes much more stronger, very strong. Now, what is the power of? So we are done with the power of the first, the regret, because the power of the regret is the one which force you to do the purification practice. Now, when we actually do the purification practice, what powers are necessary is we need now, the first power is the power of the basis. Power of the basis. What do we mean by power basis? Right. Power basis means, now for example, there are 10 non-virtuous actions, right? There are 10 non-virtuous actions. In the case of the, 3 from the body, 4 from the speech, right? And then the 3 from the mind, 10, right? All these 10 non-virtuous actions, are either directed towards enlightened being, directed towards the ordinary sentient being, or the holy beings, right? For example, in the case of telling lie, right? In the case of telling lie, I mean, there's a term called self-deception, self-deceiving. But mainly when we talk about telling lie, it has to do with other, right? For example, one can tell lie whom you are telling lie. You are telling, for example, we are telling lie to either sentient being or Buddha or enlightened being or holy being, right? So we, if we tell lie to the sentient being, we create negative karma. This negative karma comes from telling lie to the sentient beings. However, if we tell lie to the enlightened being or holy beings, we create negative karma. This negative karma comes from telling lies to somebody who is holy, some who is holy. So therefore, the power of basis means, if we create negative karma, which comes from the holy being, which comes by directing towards holy beings, for that we go for refuge. We go for refuge to the three jewels, right? However, if we gain a negative, if we accumulate the negative karma by directing towards the sentient being, for that, in order to purify that, we need to generate the bodhicitta. So therefore, the power of basis means, the power of basis involves going for refuge and generating bodhicitta. So this is the power of basis. Then the power of the third is the power of the antidote. Now, power of the antidote. There are different kinds of the antidote. You can read the sutra. One can read the Holy Sutra, right? One can serve the temple, right? One can do the volunteer work. One can make the tsaza, and then one can meditate on love. One can meditate on compassion. One can meditate on bodhicitta. One can meditate on wisdom. All these are the power of antidote. There are a lot of methods that you can purify. But of all these, power of antidote, meditation on the bodhicitta and meditation on the wisdom is the supreme. There is not a single negative karma which cannot be purified by meditation on wisdom and meditation bodhicitta. A highest form of the highest form of method that you can purify, right? So here in this case, now for example, if we were to do 35 confession, that means reading the names of the 35 Buddha, right? Reading each of the names of 35 Buddha, that is the that is the power of antidote, right? Power of the antidote, right? And then reciting the mantra, all this power of antidote. So this is the power of antidote. Then the last one is the power of promise. The power of promise. The power of promise, sometimes we think, oh, negative karma, oh, there's no problem, I can do the purification, but one is not that serious about, making any kind of resolve, So the resolve is very necessary. If we don't make a promise, in fact, you are not purifying. We are not purifying completely. The power of promise, the power of promise or resolve or resolution means you make this purification right. For example, today we have made purification right, and then you have made the purification, then you make a resolve. We make a resolve and we make a promise. From now onwards, I will refrain from negative actions as much in the best possible way, as much as I can. So this is resolution. If you do like this, you are truly, making a huge purification practice. We are truly making a huge purification practice, provided the 4 powers so powerful. And the important thing is, when we do the purification practice, lastly, we develop such a thinking that I have made a practice, I have purified. We need to think, I have truly purified. So long, now here, there are 2 indications that whether you make the purification or not, whether we make the purification practice or not, there are 2 indications, right? 2 signs. For example, in the dream, then we see the enlightened beings, the sanghas, we then see the stars, and we then see the the moon and the moon and the sun in the daytime. We are climbing on the high mountain in the hill, seeing the beings, enlightened beings, right? So all this, and then seeing the the milk coming from the trees. So all these are indication. But this is the dream is not 100% reliable. The definite reliable is whether we make purification or not. The definite reliable is after having going through all these practices, purification practices, in one's reality of life, daytime life, if one's conviction in the law of cause and effect, if one's conviction in the 3 jewels become more stronger, if one's conviction in the law of cause and effect becomes much stronger, when you really feel delight in enjoying the practice, when you begin to enjoy the practice, right, the truly the desire to do the practice, desire to meditate on love, the compassion, the value of the altruistic mind, the mind of enlightenment, then this is a clear sign that we have made the purification successfully, smoothly, right? So long as we don't have this, we continue to do the purification practice. We need to do the purification practice continually. So long as we don't have these indications, right? Definitive indications. So at one point of time, I will talk about this purification practice. Right? Then come rejoice, right? Then comes the practice of rejoice. What is rejoice? Rejoicing is the antidote to jealousy, right? Prostration is the antidote to the sense of pride. And then the purification practice is an antidote to abandoning the dharma, right? And then the rejoice is the antidote to the jealousy, right? So now how right? The great master Ksitigarbah say, with very little effort, you can create a tremendous amount of merit just by putting a little effort, right? And then another master say, you can create a huge amount of merit just by visualizing while you are sleeping, right? So rejoice means rejoicing, to feel rejoice, to feel joy, on seeing the good deeds of others, the good deeds of others. You can feel rejoice over your own good deed. If if you do today, if you do something very nice thing, do something good, which bring benefit to others, we feel rejoice. How fortunate I am that I'm able to do this wonderful, work. And then similarly, when we see other people doing a good job, we feel rejoiced. So that there is no sense of jealousy, right? Now here, you can, those people, there are some beings, enlightened beings, the bodhisattvas, realized beings. So these beings, now for example, bodhisattva, right? Some kind of bodhisattva, when we see this being doing good work, doing good job, we feel rejoice. Someone who is higher in quality than you, if we rejoice that person's good work, good deeds, we create the merit, right? We create the merit then, because we felt rejoice, we gain half the merit. We gain half the merit of that person, of that bodhisattva. And then on the other hand, there is somebody, right? There is somebody who is equal to me, who is in terms of inner, quality, we are same. So when I see that person's good job, when I see that person doing a good work, doing a good deeds, and if I feel rejoiced, I gain the equal merit. That means that person, for example, that person may, for example, uh, make one statue, right? Make one statue, or that person contributed 10 shoes, 10 shoes, new shoes for the 10 beggars, 10 beggars. I rejoice his good work. Although I physically, verbally not engaged in distributing 10 shoes, but because of the power of my rejoice, the merit that I gain is same. That means I gain the merit of having distributed that or contributed the 10 shoes, although I physically don't involved, but it's because of the power which makes that. Then there's somebody whose inner quality is much lower than me. If I see that person doing a good job, if I rejoice, the merit is now far more greater than that person. The merit that I gain is far more greater than that person. So this is how we can rejoice. We can take a rejoice in the rejoice over one's own good work, as well as rejoice over one's own others' virtuous action. Virtuous action, right? Like this. So this is how we can, take the rejoice. Now here, 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5. Please remain until the end of samsara. Please remain until the end of samsara. So that is requesting to not to pass away. Not to pass away. Continue to remain. Right now, for example, maybe I'm not sure in other Buddhist countries this exists, this kind of tradition. In the case of Tibetan tradition, there is a one called long life ceremony, like long life ceremony. The reason why we request the master to live a long life, what is the reason, right? What is the reason behind requesting master to live a long life? We are requesting the masters to live a long life so then what? because so that we gain the maximum benefit. We gain the maximum benefit, right? Because they're staying, they're living, they're staying, they're coming to on this earth is to benefit others, to serve others, to fulfill the well-being of others. So if that is the case, then it is worthwhile to make a request, right? To make a worthwhile to make a request, to continue to live a long life, so that we get benefit, sentient beings get benefit, right? By giving the teaching, right? By giving the teaching, primarily or mainly by giving the teaching. So now what kind of visualization here in this that we do? So if you are capable, we visualize we are going to the Pure Land. We visualize we are going to the each of the Buddha's Pure Land, and then those Buddhas, those enlightened beings who are ready to pass away in other in other worlds, in other world, in the other Buddha's Pure Land, or those Buddhas, those enlightened beings who have just freshly attained enlightenment, they display not teaching the Dharma. So we are requesting these Buddhas not to do so. Those who are, especially those who are ready to pass away, so we make request. The way that we do is we visualize, right? You need to visualize in this practice. You need to visualize that you fold the hand on your heart and then you kneel down. We need to kneel down and then make a request. Please don't pass away, for the benefit of oneself and for the benefit of us sentient beings who need to achieve happiness. And that is done by the nectar teachings of the Buddha. So we request that not to pass away. Or if we are not able to do that, the best thing is, we visualize Ksitigarbah in front of oneself, right? So from your heart, you emanate the throne. You emanate the limitless throne. From your heart, we emanate the limitless throne. The throne supported by 8 loins, So in front of the throne, I think some of you may see the, a throne, the some kind of throne where in front is being used the double vajra brocade. Some people see this double vajra brocade. So the throne, the in front of the throne is covered with double vajra brocade. So we visualize this throne, the limitless throne, and then go to offer it put it on the Ksitigarbah's throne. Give it to the Ksitigarbah, offer it to the Ksitigarbah and all the other gathering. So this is a sign of making a request to live a long life. And you also think that Ksitigarbah, Buddha Ksitigarbah and all the gathering have accepted your request to remain a long life, to remain such a long life as long as space exists, as long as sentient beings are emptied, they decided to live a long life up to that, end. So you visualize. The only thing is you visualize, right? And then, okay. I see. Okay. We have to. Okay, then then the 2-1, maybe we will discuss the next week. I think, yeah. Then next week, I think I hopefully finish all this.
In this course is today is how to practice the 7
7 limb, right?
of
Yeah, right.
offering
Yeah,
by visualization.
yeah.
How to visualize to connect the best result.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean, you taught us how to visualize to get the best result.
Best result. Uh-huh. Yeah, this, for example, we went through all these practices, right?
Yeah.
Mandala practice, not this one, not Mandala. So you went through the praise to Ksitigarbah, all this, you first visualize. And then when we read the, 7 limb prayer, we need to have a very strong, thinking that I'm doing this practice for the accumulation of merit purpose, purification purpose, I'm trying to do it as sincerely as is possible. It is for my own sake, right? Like this, it's for my own benefit, like this. Just, cultivating this thought alone is very powerful. The more if your thought is, so powerful, thought is, such a thought is so powerful. When we actually, do the visualization, the prostration, then you think, you visualize that you are making, all this, prostration, as we discussed, right? You need to do all these things, what we discussed earlier, all this, what we have taken the limitless rebirth, all this in the human form, we are doing, mentally, we are prostrating to this. So what we have done this, but here, the most important thing is here, there's in the whatever kind of practice, not only this practice, in any other practice, the devotion and sincerity is the, the best. It's the indispensable, right? Without devotion practice, things cannot be, if you do this with devotion and sincerity, it moves your heart. If you move your heart, you get happiness. We get happiness. We get happiness. Definitely, we get. Sometimes what really happens is, for example, we try to do a particular practice and then we are not able to touch with this practice, and then later on we say, oh, I do this practice, nothing seems to be working, I have no feeling at all. Why no feeling? Because there's no rejoice. There's no sense of rejoice. Where does rejoice come from? Rejoice, all this come from the understanding, the devotion, the sincerity. Like, for example, just give me one example. In the uh, just all the 6 limbs, all the 6 limb prayers, in the, for example, like prostration. In the prostration, when we do the prostration, right, you need to, you need to have 6, perfections. You need to do with 6 perfections. When we do the prostration, the first one, you do it, we do it, and we also make other people do it, because this is how you can help. So this is the perfection of giving. Even in the prostration, this is the giving practice. When you make other people do, like this is a giving. When you do in the right way, it is not enough to do the prostration. We need to do it in the right way. That is the the practice of ethics, right? Then the patience, the practice of patience. Now the here, very important, right? Sometimes we do 1 or 2 prostration, maybe we feel hurt, hand hurt, we feel back pain. Oh, now I don't want to do. So voluntarily accepting the pain during the prostration, for example, is the patience. Giving ethics, patience, then joyous effort, yeah, then joyous effort. Joyous effort is what? Taking delight in doing prostration, rejoice, doing delight. If there is no delight, then we do not know how far we are creating merit and purifying. Because there is no delight. If there is no delight, then we feel burdened, right? So this is joyous effort. Then meditative. 5th one is meditation, right? Meditative concentration. Meditative means, now again, when we do the prostration, again, as I said, sometimes, we hear the sound here, we get distracted. Sometimes we get distracted here, there is no sincerity because we are distracted. So without getting distracted, simply devoted yourself to the prostration, to the beauty of the prostration, then we really begin to get delight, right? So this is a meditative concentration in the prostration. Then if we do the prostration with the understanding that you are in the nature of emptiness, others, all the Ksitigarbah that you are making prostration, all the Buddhas, they are also in the nature of emptiness. With this understanding, if you do the prostration, this is a wisdom. So in the practice of the prostration alone, 6 perfections, 6 perfections are there. Then it's truly marvelous. Truly, there's a beauty. Then definitely we are really making the purification practice as well as creating a huge amount of merit. Then there's a sense of delight, sense of joy, like this. Then, yeah, you're welcome. Then, yeah, we will continue with the last 2. Turn the wheel of Dharma. Yeah, turning the wheel of Dharma and dedication. Yeah, we discuss with the next. I think the people have no question. Any question? Look like nobody. Yeah. In the over there, over in the nobody.
Let me ask. Guys, if you have any questions,
It look like nobody.
I guess nobody.
I see. No problem. Yeah.
We'll have a group discussion after 5 minutes.
I see. Very good.
Right?
Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you, Venerable.
Oh, very good. Hold it off. This is. This is already off, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Let me end it.